Between the Lines, presented by Continental Diamond. I'm Tatum, this is Ben, and the Vikings get another victory, Ben. 31-28 over the Falcons today. And it was a quirky game, to say the least. Josh Dobbs, 5 days with the team, and he comes in here and pulls off quite a victory. What do you make of his impressive performance?
It's heroic. I mean, it really is. I mean, it seemed like as the game went on, you could see the confidence in him get more comfortable in just his situation, right? Early on, I get it. You know, a little rocky, a little shaky. I mean, he's probably hearing terms and verbiage that he hasn't heard ever in his life. And he's got to put it all together in a pressure environment. So rightfully so, a little bit of a rough start, just trying to make some plays and get everything acclimated. He goes out and balls out. I mean, the way that he can scramble, the way that he created plays, using his eyes down the field, it was a historic and a heroic game on his part. I mean, the second Vikings player or quarterback to have a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown.
And it's incredible because he's actually the first one in Vikings history to do that in his debut. A rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. So it's pretty incredible what he does. His line, 20 of 30 for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Plus, he had 7 carries for 66 yards and a rushing score. What's the most impressive part of that for you?
Oh, man, I don't know. I think just the poise. I mean, I think that we all knew when he got signed, he got traded, it was like, okay, who is this guy? You turn on the highlights, you go to YouTube, whatever, you start looking at stuff, and you're like, yeah, you can tell that he's kind of a dual threat guy. He can extend some plays. You notice his athleticism right away. But you don't really know what you've got until you put a guy in a pressure situation. And you know, he has everything that you're looking for in a quarterback to lead this team. You know, I can't think of a tougher situation to walk into when you don't know who your players are. I mean, I bet you the 10 other guys in the huddle, I bet you he doesn't know their first and last names at this point, but yet he's got to run this whole offense. And so I think just his poise and his guts and his intestinal fortitude is what stood out to me.
There may not have been a more pressure situation than the 2-minute drill at the end of the game, the drive to win it all when Dobbs hit Brandon Powell in the end zone. Brandon Powell's first touchdown since 2020. Quite a moment for those two who probably did not know each other very well, as you mentioned. What was it like to watch that from the sideline and watch that drive unfold as they played to win the game?
Well, it was just surreal because you're watching him go down. You know, Addison has this awesome catch on the sideline that really, you know, they needed some of those chunk plays. They need every drive that they scored, and they needed a little bit of a spark, whether it was the defense giving them that or somebody stepping up. So Addison goes out there and gets a big chunk play to start everything off. And then you think about, you know, there's no KJ out there.
Yep.
You know, Brandon Powell, a lot of people don't know this. He was cramping early in the second half. He's out on the sideline. Both calves are cramping. You know, so he battles his way back to get to be an impactful player on that last drive. So it's impressive that with all the injuries that we have, guys dealing with injuries and being uncomfortable out there, you know, having both your calves cramp up during the game is not a comfortable thing. It's not easy to come back to and play fast. And he goes out there on the game-winning touchdown and scores it and rises above.
As you mentioned, there were several injuries on the offensive side of things. First of all, the Vikings didn't play this game with starting left tackle Christian Darrisaw. And then KJ goes down. Jaron Hall, who was in the game, 5 of 6, 78 yards, had a promising start to the game. He goes down with a concussion. It just felt like one after one. Cam Akers, who is now coach confirmed, he believes maybe an Achilles injury. They're very fearful of that. As of right now, no confirmation. They'll probably go through the same measures with Kirk. But you have all of that to go down. What kind of fight did you see in that offense despite being man after man down?
You know, it's you hear Coach talk about it all the time, like this being a resilient team. You know, early in the season, it was like, hey, you know, we have these turnovers, and this is not our identity. This is not who we are. We just got to keep going and keep going. And you know, it's impressive to me that they not only talk it, but they walk it. You know, this is such a mentally tough football team on both sides. You know, the defense was a little slow to go at the start of the season. That's you know, you got to give them a little bit of a leash because they got a new defensive coordinator, but they now have picked it up. They believe guys are making plays on defense the whole time. So the offensive guys know that if somebody goes down, whether you know it's an offensive lineman, whether it's your quarterback, whether it's a receiver, they know that they can play complementary football with the defense on the other side that can take the ball away. They can rise up after you fumble they go first and goal on the 1 yard line, and you hold them to just a field goal. I mean, that's the type of things that you have to lean on in times of adversity.
Yeah, the defense with 2 turnovers in this game, back-to-back there in the second half, and it turned into 10 points for this team offensively, which obviously is a huge margin of victory. When you look at the defense, what they were able to do, holding the Falcons to 4 field goals, what impressed you most about them today?
I think just our ability to change things up. When it comes to, are we going to pressure? Are we going to blitz? Are we going to drop 8? We lead the league in percentage of pressures, but we also lead the league in percentage of bringing 3 and dropping 8. Yeah. So offenses don't know what they're going to get. And we go up to the line of scrimmage and we mug and we disguise and we drop guys and we bring a 5th guy or 6th guy. There's so much unpredictability, but yet our guys are still in the right spots. I think that's the thing that impresses me is you see guys line up all over the field. You see Danielle Hunter line up as a Mike linebacker in the middle of the defense, creeping down to the A gap. Now he's gonna run some sort of stunt or something. Like, you've got guys that line up pre-snap that they're not going to be there when the ball is snapped, but yet everybody gets to their spots. We create pressure, and we got guys in the back end that know how to make plays as well.
And the team able to play a very clean game in this one too, with no penalty, one penalty, 4 yards in the entire game, which obviously makes a huge difference at the end of things.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that people, I hope they realize how difficult that is. I mean, think about if we had walked away from this game and said, oh, you know what, the Vikings offense had 4 or 5 pre-snap penalties. That's okay. We understand. We're going to give them that because you've got a rookie quarterback that starts the game, and then you get another quarterback that comes in after 5 days.
And another left tackle.
And another left tackle
Who hasn't started, yeah.
That would completely be justified if they had a couple false starts, a couple guys, 2 guys in motion because, we weren't clear on the communication. Like, that is mind-blowing to think that with all of that going on, 1 penalty, 4 yards.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself, and they didn't.
No, they did not beat themselves. In fact, it was the 4th straight win. They've won 5 out of the last 6, and they welcome New Orleans next weekend, another NFC team. This is a huge question mark. I feel like there is a lot to talk about for this offense. What, for you, is the biggest talking point heading into next weekend?
Well, I think we all know that that Dobbs can play, and I'm excited to see what he can do with just another week of preparation.
Just a few more days.
Yeah, a few more days of understanding what this offense is and what they expect out of him. I want to see what we did in the second half with our run game and see if we can't fix that more in the first half. I know that defenses may do some things. They may shift some guys around. They may throw some different slants and do whatever. Figure it out in the second quarter. Don't wait till halftime to start running the ball more effectively and more efficiently. Those things, the run game is still a constant talker, and we can't leave it all on Dobbs. For the second game here, we need to get a little bit more balance in offense.
Now, they were able to rush for more than 100 yards for the 3rd time this season, so you were right. In the second half, they really turned things around. And Josh Dobbs may know more of his teammates' names this next time around. When the Vikings face the Saints, they host them at US Bank Stadium. Kickoff is at noon on Fox. For Ben Leber, I'm Tatum Everett. Thanks for watching Between the Lines.